Okay, think about this for a second. What if the end of the world doesn't show up with a giant flash of light or a massive earthquake? What if it starts with a sound? A weird sound that seems to be coming from everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. Let's dig into this because it's happening. You've probably heard this before, right? Straight out of the book of Revelation. For centuries, this has been the go-to prophecy for the end times. 7 angels, 7 trumpets, and with each blast, a new disaster hits Earth. It's some seriously dramatic stuff, and for a growing number of people, it feels like it's starting to happen for real. So are we talking about a literal, honest-to-goodness doomsday announcement, fire and locusts included? Or is it possible we're just hearing the universe's weirdest jazz band warming up? That's the real question here. Are these strange sounds a genuine warning, or something else entirely? To get to the bottom of this, we have to play detective and look at the evidence. And believe me, there is a lot of it. For years now, people all over the globe have been recording this bizarre symphony of unsettling noises coming from the sky, from deep underground, and even from the bottom of the ocean. First on the list are these things people have dubbed sky trumpets. And yeah, they're pretty much what they sound like, these incredibly loud, sometimes even musical sounds that just boom out of the sky. They've been recorded all over the place, from Houston to Argentina, and they leave everyone who hears them completely stumped. No planes, no speakers, just sound. And what's really wild is just how different these sounds can be. Some people hear clear musical notes. Others swear it sounds like massive, grinding machinery. A few recordings even have this feeling of a dark, angry presence. But the creepiest one? The ones that sound like a giant animal roaring. Which, yeah, brings us right back to Revelation and its talk of a great dragon. All right, let's move on to something that's been around a lot longer, skyquakes. Just imagine it's a perfect blue sky day, not a cloud in sight, and then boom, a massive sound like a cannon blast or a huge clap of thunder. This isn't a new thing. The Iroquois told stories about it, and you can even find it in Washington Irving's classic story, Rip Van Winkle. Now for what might be the most psychologically torturous sound of them all, the hum. This isn't a sudden bang. Oh no, this is a constant, low-frequency drone, like a fleet of trucks idling right outside your house, forever. It first got famous in Taos, New Mexico, where it was driving people crazy, causing headaches, nausea, you name it. But here's where it gets truly strange. Only 2% of the people there could actually hear it. Just let that sink in. You are being tormented by a sound day and night, but 98% of the people around you, your friends, your family, your doctor, can't hear a thing. They think you're making it up. It's a perfect recipe to make you feel like you're losing your mind. And this is where the mystery just goes off the deep end. How in the world can someone who is deaf hear a sound? It really makes you wonder if the hum is a sound at all. Maybe it's more of a vibration, something your body feels rather than your ears hear. It's a question science still has no real answer for. I know this is going to sound like a joke, but I promise you it's not. Some of the people suffering from the hum in Taos reported that the only thing that gave them any relief was a tinfoil hat, a thin layer of foil on their head. It's just one of those details that's so bizarre, you just don't know what to do with it. And just when you thought it was safe on land, it turns out the oceans are just as noisy. For decades, we've had these underwater microphones, called hydrophones, listening to the deep. And they've picked up some real head-scratchers. The upsweep, which is this rising sound that goes across the whole Pacific. The bloop, a noise way louder than any known animal. And the biotwang, which sounds like some weird machine in the deepest part of the ocean. So we have our evidence file. The entire planet is apparently humming, booming, and trumpeting. So let's get to the investigation. What are the official explanations? And more importantly, how do they stack up against some of the more out there theories? So, of course, for pretty much every weird sound, science has a potential, kind of boring explanation. They say skyquakes could be tectonic plates shifting, or thunder from a storm miles away. The hum? Probably just some factory. The bloop? A giant iceberg cracking. The biotwang? A whale call we just hadn't heard before. And get this, some of those sky sounds have even been blamed on fish, mating, apparently really, really loudly. But come on, do they really? Do these neat little answers explain the global scale of it all? Do they explain why some of these sounds have been reported for hundreds of years, long before any factories existed? For a lot of us, the official stories just feel incomplete. This is where you start going down the rabbit hole. Enter HARP. That huge, controversial research facility up in Alaska, they openly admit to shooting powerful beams of electromagnetic energy up into the atmosphere. So could they be accidentally, or maybe not so accidentally, creating these sounds? It's a theory a lot of people are not willing to just brush aside. But what if the source of these mysteries isn't here on Earth at all? What if it's coming from out there? Back in 1977, a radio telescope picked up this incredibly powerful laser-focused signal from deep space. It was perfect. It lasted for exactly 72 seconds. And then, silence. It has never, ever been heard again. The signal was so unnatural, so unlike all the random static from space, that the astronomer who found it, a guy named Jerry Ekman, just circled the data printout and wrote, "Wow," in the margin. I mean, what else could you write? It was the strongest candidate for an alien message we had ever found. Decades later, we even beamed a response back into that same patch of sky. And here's the thing, almost 50 years later, there is still no good, natural explanation for the wow signal. It's the ultimate cosmic mystery. And for a lot of very smart people, it's the single best piece of evidence we have that we are not alone. So, what's the final verdict? Are these hums and trumpets and signals really the opening act for the apocalypse? Well, maybe. But there's a more interesting question here. Why are we so ready, almost eager, to believe that they are? This quote from the novelist Haruki Murakami just nails it, doesn't it? From ancient myths to every other blockbuster movie, we are obsessed with the end of the world. But why? What is that about? Well, the theory goes that it's not actually about a death wish. It's the exact opposite. It's all about control. We live in a chaotic world, so thinking about the absolute worst-case scenario is, weirdly enough, a way our brains try to handle the fear. Think about it. Whenever you watch a zombie movie and you start thinking, okay, what would I do? You're not just being morbid. You're running a simulation in your head. It's a mental fire drill. You're practicing how you'd react, you're dealing with the fear a little bit at a time, and you're basically switching on that survivor's gene that's hardwired into all of us. So here's the bottom line. The people who think about this stuff, the folks who watch disaster flicks or have a go bag in their closet, they aren't just paranoid. They are, in a very real way, preparing. And when a real crisis finally hits, they're not the ones who are going to freeze. They are not going to be zombie food. Look, for thousands of years, people have been predicting the end of the world, and every single one of them has been wrong. But here's the cold, hard truth. One of these days, somebody's going to be right. So whether these sounds are from the earth or the sky or something else entirely, they're a good reminder. If those trumpets finally do sound for real, are you going to be ready?